You get to the level of insulin resistance because you're constantly eating the carbohydrates. You're feeding sugars. So the body is actually trying to help you to lower the sugars. But you ask yourself, where are these sugars going to? Given that you have very limited activity. That is one. Number two, you eat every time. And everything you're eating, 90% of your plate is a carbohydrate. You told this is a balanced diet. Diabetics are told to eat ugali the size of a fist. This is a carb. Yet you're suffering from a carbohydrate problem. So then how are you going to recover if you're constantly eating the same carbohydrates that brought you the problem? One day, ask your nutritionist, what is the reason why I'm eating carbohydrates? He will tell you or she will tell you, for energy. And then tell her, how about gluconeogenesis? You want to tell me if I don't eat carbs, I cannot have energy? How about people who are on clean keto, carnivore diets, banting diets? How do they end up having a lot of energy without having to eat a carbohydrate? Ask those questions and see how your nutritionist gets confused. Because 70% of nutritionists in hospitals are actually obese. And they don't know how to lose that weight. But they are telling you, oh, hii diabetes yako unajua ni special. Hii ni genes. Hii ni genes. Kula two mangoes plus fruit pudding at lunch hour. You know, when you eat a pudding, you've not eaten. But Madam Nutritionist, how did you end up being obese with the pudding? Ama wewe utaki ku lose weight? Ni mimi tunafaa ku lose weight. Mimi niko na diabetes. By the way, somebody told me, a client of mine told me, she once asked doctors, you see these canteens in hospitals that sell every sugar. Okay, there's so much sugar being sold in canteens in hospitals. You know that. So there are doctors who come here to eat these chapatis and tea and sodas and juices. So then this guy sells foods in those canteens. So this guy asked the doctor, daktari, mbona nyinyi mnakatazanga watu wa diabetes kula hii vitu na nyinyi mnakula? And the doctor says, ati juu mimi sina diabetes. Pause and review. Ati mimi sina sukari. Some of your doctors yawa. Why daktari? Why do you tell people to eat brown chapati when you're eating white chapati? And he says, mimi sina sukari. Yeah? The ego, now he's been caught and he has to defend his eating chapati and addiction. And he says, you know what, I will keep eating it because I don't have diabetes. So actually, I am waiting to get to a place where I'm diabetic to stop eating chapati as a doctor. When we've just said, insulin resistance is a progressive thing. So it takes time. So by the time you're being diagnosed with diabetes, it's actually taken you 20 to 30 years. That's how most of you go into a lab. You're obese, you get into a lab, you take a blood sugar test and your blood sugars are okay. And you say, oh, Miss Nanga Sukari, God loves me, I don't have sugars. And then you keep on feeding your tummy, your pot belly. So that is one, high carb intake, insulin resistance. Number two, very limited walking and exercise, basically physical activity. I've seen people, specifically in Isli and this northern area, people sit down from around 3, they start chewing mirror, they take sugar, they take energy drinks, they take bulgums and all that, and they sit there until 3 a.m. in the morning, seated, just eating, chewing the whole night long, and then they go back home at 3, they take diazepam or they take amitriptyline and they sleep. When they wake up, they want food. They eat after 2 hours again, and they go back to the same spot. They are betting, aviator, people in Kericho, people who come from these from Nandi and all that. Kales are betting like crazy. And Kales are thinking just because they are thin, they are healthy. My friend, being thin means you have a fatty liver. You need to be lean. So it doesn't matter. It does not mean just because that runner, Kipchoge, comes from your area, it means you're also fit. No. No, some of you are fit by association. Oh, our Kemboy is fit, so I am fit too. No, you're actually obese from inside. Also, alcohol intake, problems with the liver, problems with insulin resistance, and cigarette smoking. I've told you that multiple times, right? So making changes in your kitchen can actually improve outcomes of insulin resistance. And then now you supplement with either apple cider vinegar in your drinking water or chromium. We've talked about chromium supplements, right? They improve insulin resistance. However, there is no way you can drink SCV, there's no way you can take chromium supplements and still eat the same foods and still hope that, you know what, my diabetes or my insulin resistance is going away. It is going nowhere. It's going nowhere. Doc, when is insulin produced? Is it at the time you are eating or at the end of carbs digestion? Listen, you see, sugar, salt, water, and alcohol are absorbed from the gut so fast. And immediately you take sugar, you absorb it and you spike insulin. That's why we say simple carbohydrates are criminal. Thank you so much, AK. Simple carbohydrates are criminal because you'll break them so fast, you will absorb the sugar quick fast from the gut wall, and in your blood you're going to spike the sugars. Possibly an hour or so. That's why if you eat a cake now, take about an hour or so and take a blood sugar test and see what is actually happening to you. Daniel, do you get that? You will see what is actually happening to your blood levels. So do that experiment with yourself. Eat a fruit now and take a blood sugar after 1 or 2 hours. See what is happening. All right? You will see what I'm talking about. And anytime blood sugars are going up, insulin is coming in. And you know by then there are drugs that can actually bring you problems with insulin. But that is not insulin resistance. That is low insulin production. For example, a drug like sitagliptin, a very common drug in the combination of Triviamet, metformin and sitagliptin. Those drugs that are called gliptins, we've talked about them, right? What they do is they cause acute pancreatitis. Same to alcohol, same to NSAIDs, the painkillers. They cause acute pancreatitis. Once you have a defective pancreas, of course the amount of insulin that you start producing are very minimal. Very minimal. So imagine a drug that is coming in to help you treat symptoms of diabetes and then ends up messing up your pancreas. So now you'll have to be a fan of insulin therapy for a lifetime. You see that? So some of these medications are actually providing a room for you to be on insulin therapy for a lifetime.